right, good evening and welcome to Jack Dodson's Racing Insider News with Scott Allen and the troublemaker Joe Staples on the end down there. Hey man, we had a great time at VIR.
We did.
It ended up being a good race at the end. Sergio Pena won the race. Like Scott asked him in the media center, what kind of gift? He said everything was a gift.
Well, he did. When the 51, who was it? I can't think.
Dalton Sargent.
Dalton. He. I think it was like the second or third time somebody was leading. They just drove off the track. I mean, just overdrove the corner like it wasn't even there. I mean.
And then he drove right to the front. I mean, went right to the front on it. So.
Yeah.
It happened several times.
But two to go, and then Kaz made it very interesting. He got to Sergio's bumper, and he was going to move him. He tried it too soon and lost a couple car links, and that kind of surety. Because he said he was going to repaint him because Sergio went down there. He restarted a few. They had several restarts to the lap, green, white, checkered, and Sergio was fifth. On one and come out, went into the first turn and come out second. he did because he knocked the bottom car and all of them went off the racetrack, so they were all going to repaint him.
But they couldn't get to him.
Yeah, they couldn't get to him.
And it's quite obvious that Sergio is going to do whatever it takes to get that win because he was in a situation where he's not even supposed to be in that car.
He's filling in.
He's filling in for somebody.
Okay.
Yeah, that has.
I'm not sure what it is.
I was told he has like an ear infection and his
equilibrium
is off. Yeah.
Jay Beasley is the guy that would be normally driving the car, and Sergio drove the wheels off of it. And now Sergio, and I didn't know this until he said in the media center, he's won at all the tracks in Virginia.
I didn't know that either. I didn't think he had won that much, to be honest with you.
I didn't either.
But to take. And I'm a down Rev Racing. Their equipment is not what it has been.
Yeah.
A few years prior. They have some okay equipment.
Yes.
They're not up to par with
They're not close to Harry Scott and that group over there at all. I would think.
Yeah, I mean Harry Scott. I mean they've got big sponsors. They got 5 teams, and they have a bunch of older Cup experience over there. So I mean they got a lot of resources, plus they're affiliated with a Cup team that has Hendrick Motorsports affiliated and technical support, so it all trickles down. And those guys are on the ball. I mean, if you want to win in car, you need to be in a Harry Scott car.
That's right, and he's got 5 of them.
With Justin Marks, yes.
Yeah, he got 5 of them, so there's
I don't even know if any other team besides Rev this week has won a race, to be honest with you. I don't know who all has won in the K&N cars.
Austin Hill won one earlier in the year.
And he had a very good chance to win this weekend.
Went out and got pushed out of the way by Cass one time, and both of them had to go to the back, and both of them came back to the front.
Yeah. I thought he was going to be the one to beat, honestly, until that caution come out, and then, boy, I mean, it changed.
How many cars did they have show up?
They had 19 to start.
Okay. Yeah, it was a pretty good field. And we talked to Phil Warren. Phil works on Sergio's car, and he's like, that kid right there. And he's pretty high on him.
Yeah.
He's like, that kid will do whatever it takes to win.
And he don't
care. Yeah, he don't care if he hurts your feelings. He'll deal with it after the race. And I like that. I wish they would bring more of that back.
Yeah. He drove it. I mean, there was no doubt about it. The 2 guys that finished second and third were not really happy with him, but they were. I mean, he did an outstanding job with what he had. But it was the first time I'd ever been to a road race like that, and it was an experience. I really enjoyed it. I want to thank Rick Godovic and his wife Kelly for all they did for us up there. They fed us, and it was really nice to sit down and talk with him. And we appreciate it.
Great barbecue.
And here's our first call already.
4, 6, 7.
And joining us now is the legendary, the living legend, Brian Morehouse.
I wish I was a living legend. Where did you come up with that one at?
You did
really been nice to you this weekend.
You didn't see the thing on Facebook I put about you being a living legend.
No, I didn't see that. You know I'm a Facebook stalking guy. You said something nice about me, Jack?
Yeah, I called you the living legend.
Wow, I need to get my a t-shirt.
That's scary.
How y'all guys doing?
We're doing good. How are you doing today?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Nice seeing y'all guys this weekend at the DIR. What y'all think of that place?
We had a ball, man. I mean, it was great. The race was fun.
I tell you what, the road course, man. You know, road course is on what I'd say was one of my favorite things. But I tell you what, that was a heck of a race. And I mean, it's got all kinds of excitement. It's a beautiful facility.
Yeah, you had it licked to being up there staying at the facility.
Oh yeah. I tell you, all the excitement that was there, man. I tell you, the guys did a great job. It was a good race, and I mean, what was it? 2 green light checkers to the finish.
Yeah. It was the first time I'd ever been to a road course race, and it was really good. I really enjoyed it. I mean, it was a lot of fun. Got to see a lot of people that I knew.
Yeah.
So it was really good.
And to see Sergio, a hometown kind of kid, win the race, for somebody that you wouldn't think that would win the race, because like we were just kind of talking, that Rev Racing is not what it was a couple of years ago. So to take a car that's, you know, a 10th place car and win with it was pretty good.
He really looked like he hung back there, and, you know, there for a little while. It looked like maybe he was having, you know, just hanging with the course and everything. And then all of a sudden, there at the end, it just seemed like every time they came on my turns at 12 and 13, we had a different leader. And I tell you, I just thought it was an excellent race. Awesome to be there and be able to watch that thing. And tell you what, he was really excited to be filling in for Jay Beasley in the 42 car for Rev Racing. And, you know, Jay's been sick and under the weather, and it was nice to see Sergio get in there and be able to do a good job with it.
Well, hopefully Sergio can get into another ride or move forward. He seems like he's done well with you know, not so great equipment. I know Phil Warren, we talked to Phil after race, and Phil's very high on Sergio.
Oh, yeah. I tell you, you know, there's so much talent out there nowadays. You take guys like Sergio, Corey LaJoy, a bunch of these guys, it's just trying to find funding for riding and everything else. And you just got to be in the right place at the right time. Like I heard Jeff Gordon say one time, there's 100 Jeff Gordons out there. It just takes that one to, you know, you got to get noticed.
Yeah, and you talk about Super Shoe, as some people call him, Corey LaJoy. I'm really surprised that kid hasn't gotten a ride. I mean, that kid has some raw talent.
Oh, yeah. I mean, coming from a racing family like he does, Randy LaJoy's son, and they had a cart, it's like a go-kart place at their place down there in Kannapolis at LaJoy Seating. And I tell you what, you can put him in anything, and he's been good in a modified, he's been good in the King and N car, he's been good in the ARCA car, and, you know, he's also raced Xfinity and truck. Put him in anything, and he's good at it. Again, he's got to be in the right place at the right time to be able to catch that eye.
Well,
but,
we heard that he may be in an Xfinity car next year.
I've heard that.
Not a full-time deal, but a few races.
Well, you know, it just takes a few races, like it does, like it did Sergio this weekend, to be able to jump in that car and be able to wheel it around there and be able to take it to victory lane. Hopefully, Corey will be able to do that and, you know, be able to catch by somebody, and just it takes a few races to start off.
All right, well, talk to us a little bit now about the Southern Modifieds coming to Langley this weekend.
Well, it looks like Southern Modifieds are coming out of Langley. I'll be there Saturday night, December the 5th. Looking for a good show. I mean, every time they come out of Langley, they put on a great show. From what I'm understanding, we're going to have a good field. And I tell you what, the points race is getting tight with Bart, Jason Myers, Andy Stice, Fleming, and all those guys. You got some good talent in this division, some young talent. You got some of the older talent. And I tell you what, I really think, just my personal opinion, it's going to go right down to the wire. It's going to take it all the way down to Charlotte on the short quarter mile out there, and I think it's going to be excitement the way it was 3 or 4 years ago when, not saying he's going to win it, but you take Bert, he went in there, he was third, and the front runners ended up spinning out, and next thing you know, Bert walked out as a champion that night. So, you know, it would really be nice to be able to go down there and have a 34-way battle and have great racing, but it's all going to start at Langley this weekend. After Langley, We ended up going down to South Boston. After South Boston, we returned back to Hickory around October the 4th. And Hickory's a great track to race. We've been there one other time since I've been with the tour, and then we'll finish it all up there in Charlotte on pole night.
Well, it sounds like it's going to be, the race is really going to be good, and we can't wait to get to see it. It'll be one of the few times I've ever seen the modifieds.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you what, I was never a modified guy. I always dealt with cars with fenders and everything, but since I've gotten on the tour, I tell you what, I'm a big modified person, and, you know, they're big up north. They're the late models of up north, but some of these guys, man, live, eat, and breathe this stuff, and it's really nice to be with a great bunch of guys like we are and a good organization.
Hey, Brian, I got a question for you. I keep hearing this word lug nut. What does that mean?
Well, you know, Jack's got this thing about coming up with nicknames, and I'm not sure how he came up with it. Jack, I think, dreams about me a lot, and I'm not really sure what the whole deal is about it, but Jack's got these little nicknames, and I just really go ahead and call me Lug Nut, but karma is going to hurt Jack. So I'm just going to tell you that karma, Jack, is going to haunt you. I know where you live. I ride to Portland, even though I almost got a ticket this week. Out, 67 and a 55, and I want to thank those great cops on 58. I'm going to tell you something, Jack. Karma is going to hit you.
I didn't have nothing to do with this. I called you a living legend.
I'm just trying to get off his list, Brian.
I think when that guy rides by you in that little red truck. Nah, man, that's just Jack's way. Hey, we'll play the game with Jack. We'll play the game. But hey, guys, it's great been talking to y'all. Hopefully, we'll definitely see y'all guys there this weekend, all right?
All right, man. We'll talk to you later.
Thanks, Brian.
All righty, man. Y'all have a great week.
You too.
Well, I think somebody else was calling.
Yeah, it was Jeremy.
Jeremy. Oh.
Well, we won't go into the lug nut story.
I do know the lug nut.
Well, okay. Well, it's kind of funny.
Yeah. I want to thank my beautiful wife for bringing us some Chick-fil-A.
Oh, yes. I did hit the spot.
I like how you put my beautiful wife.
Hey, I ain't no dummy. You see who I was nice to when we got into Godovic's trailer, didn't you?
Yeah. That wasn't being nice. That was sucking up. That was just...
That's like, man, yeah, tell me, how'd you land this beautiful wife like, or something like that?
You married up. You kept telling me he married up.
So you married up. He started laughing. She's like, oh, well, thank you. I said, I know who to suck up to.
But it was, you know, the VR experience was great. I enjoyed it. And
It was fun. We'll definitely go back next year.
I'm planning on it. I loved it. I mean, it was great.
And the ride wasn't that bad. I wasn't that bad, was it?
How long did it take you guys to get up there?
Well, it took me about 3.5. Then I met with him and Rohit.
Oh, he didn't come down to pick you up?
No. And then he missed where he had to come to.
No, quick.
I drove right past it and kept on getting. I was like, Jack lives right over here, so I know I went too far.
It's the only stoplight in town.
You're right, Dave, but what?
But looking forward to the modified race this weekend.
I am too.
I mean, those guys are getting around Langley, I think, about 14 seconds.
All right. Here we go. Is this Jeremy?
Yes, sir. How you doing, Jack?
I'm doing good. How are you tonight? How's things down your way?
I'd like to say it's the old sunshine state in Florida, but lately it's been the rainy state.
I heard y'all have had a real bad time down there the last couple days.
Oh, it's been crazy, man. It's been like, it seems like every other day it rains 3 inches. I mean, you know, the hurricane didn't really touch us much, but just all the rain that we've had, you know, weeks prior to that, and now, you know, continuing the rainy season, it seems like it ain't lit up. I think we're like 25 or 26 inches ahead of the year right now. It's crazy.
I'm telling you. Now, that's, you know, you bring up being in Florida. That has to be a kind of a tough deal for you to come up here to run the modifieds up here, living in Florida. I mean, that's a lot of traveling for you.
Yeah, every time we go up there, it's like a 9.5, 10 hour ride up there and 10 hours back. I mean, it definitely, you know, it's something to plays into the role of, with fuel mileage and all that good stuff. I think we spend more for getting up there and back on gas than we do for the tires and, the expenses of actually racing.
So the team that you drive for, that's in this area, right? I mean, up in the Charlotte area, or?
Yeah, I drive for Grady Jeffries Racing out of Winston-Salem, which makes it kind of nice. I mean, years past, like 2 years ago when I went for Rookie of the Year against the Fleming, basically it was against Luke. Then we had our own team. It was just so much to try to travel, blowing tires out on a trailer, and have to leave a day early just to get up there. And with the coming this year, coming forward, they offered me a ride with them, and basically spending the same money, but better equipment and a team that knows how to set the car up and knows pretty much everything about it. And, them being from that area just makes it nice if we want to go up there and do a test. It's a little bit easier just bringing the motorhome up there with the family and enjoying the weekend.
So how did you get started into racing, Jeremy?
At age 6, my dad, I'm from Illinois originally, Belleville, Illinois, and at age 6, my dad, we had quarter midgets. We raced all throughout Indianapolis, and Indiana, and Illinois area, and we won a couple of championships and, quarter midgets, and then we moved up to youth-stack midgets. And then, my father, he basically moved to Florida because of his computer corporation. And when he did that, we, found out about Gerstner Speedway and, some of the circle tracks. And that's when we got into mini stocks and kind of came up through the ranks, as time progressed, from mini stocks to, street stocks and modifieds and then late models. And, basically, just kind of like my dad was always a drag racer. My brother John, he raced some, Nascar Slim Jim stuff. And, I was always kind of like not really the racer of the family. My brother more or less was. But as years progressed, he kind of got out of it, and I got more into it.
Now, you said you started out at mini stocks. That's kind of a warm place in my heart. That's what I was racing out at Southampton, was the mini stocks. And so where I understand that you're looking to move on up into some trucks and stuff. Tell us about that.
Yeah, we're trying to plan some stuff. I'm not sure if it's going to happen later this year or not, or it will for sure next year. We're going to try to run at least 3 Camping World Truck deals so we can get qualified to be able to run the Daytona. I haven't got nothing etched in stone yet. I'm still working on the final details of it all. That's why I don't really want to talk much about it. But I mean, a young kid, you guys probably heard of him quite a bit. He drove for me back in 2006 and 7, Ross Chastain.
Oh yeah.
He moved up to the truck. He was my teammate in my ASA days when I owned a 2-car team. He drove the 70 when I did 70, and we had quite a good times. And now he's moved on to trucks, and now he's actually driving Xfinity Series this year, which he's doing really good in. And I'm kind of proud of him. It's kind of something I wanted to do. We built a nice big shop here in Florida, thinking we were going to do a Florida-based, Camping World Truck Series deal, and just sponsors haven't came about like I wanted to. And so we still got the shop, the property, and everything. It's just, for now, our stepping stone was to do the NASCAR wheel and modified deal, which has been a dream of mine and my wife. For like 3 years, ever since the whole Morehouse show, we decided, we wanted to do something like that. With it being NASCAR, it's a good stepping stone, because that way I can get qualified for being able to hop right in a Camping World Truck deal, knowing Jeff Bodine's the guy that, approves you for all that. Just kind of, getting your name out there. I mean, like Ryan Priest, he's going to be running on a Xfinity deal here soon. And, he's kind of the same deal. He's won championships. Anytime you can get associated with the NASCAR people and get your name out there, it definitely helps. Especially being from Florida, it's like, nobody, other than a lot of good short tracks here in Florida, there's not too many other than a handful of drivers that come out of Florida that, go on to be big time.
So you said you used to own your own team, and now you're driving for somebody else. Do you feel it's easier to go to another team and take your resources there, or doing your own team?
I lost the control of, being able to plan more, myself. Like I knew pretty much what I was up against before I got to the track. I knew what I had for equipment and everything. But with this year, with Grady Jeffries, I mean, they have, the state-of-the-art equipment. They got good cars, good motors. I had an old, when I ran for Rookie of the Year against Luke Fleming, I had a 20-year-old 100 motor that we had a local sprint car guy freshen up for me, which we knew we were behind the 8 ball there, plus the chassis we had was old. With this team here, they got, 2008 style chassis, which is the state-of-the-art chassis, the 08 newer, which you want because it's got the best, roll centers and stuff like that. and they actually have two good motors. Which at the beginning of this year, we actually ran my car, which we had the problem with their motor testing, and we waited for the motors to come back. So the first 4 races, we ran my car, and we didn't do too bad. We had some bad luck with a couple wrecks, and we salvaged some top 10s with my car, but since we've been back in their equipment, we haven't ran out of the top 10 yet. So I mean, it just shows you that with them knowing their equipment and them knowing how to set these cars up, and that's the other thing, like you were saying about owning my own team. Yeah, I've had Florida modified teams, and I've had the ASA teams, which I can relate with, as far as the way these cars work. Those cars work. These cars are totally different. I mean, they're so temperamental. I mean, you can do a 2-pound adjustment on one tire and go from being tight to loose or loose to tight. And they're very, very temperamental. They're not like a late model where you can do a major wedge change and the car doesn't hardly even react.
Mm-hmm. Huh. Yeah, we were just wondering because we were talking to somebody this weekend, and they were talking about how they had put some resources into their son, and they probably said, looking back, they probably would have been better off just to take the resources and go to a team and let them handle it and move up, and they probably feel like they'd be further ahead than trying to do it themselves.
Well, yeah, I will agree with that. I mean, because, me being a father, I got a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old, and then I also run my own lawn care business, and that's how I support this team this year. And that's how I support all my racing with is, owning my own lawn business. So it's like trying to juggle all that and trying to, get your car ready and make sure that you show up. Because, I mean, honestly, with this series here, it's like probably 90% of racing nowadays. You don't win it at the racetrack. You win it at the shop.
Right.
I mean, the preparation is everything. I mean, if you don't have the car like 95% correct before you even get to the track, you're not going to fix it that day at the race. You're going to struggle the whole day, and that's what I found. I mean, that's why I say it's so great to know that when I get to the track now, that this team with Grady Jeffries, that they got the old man that owns the car and his nephew Travis Smith and Grady Jr. That's the crew chief. They work on that car 2 or 3 days during the week, and they got it like fine-tuned before I even get to the track. I mean, I pretty much get out there and shoot it and give them a little bit of input, what to make the car a little bit better or where we can improve at. I mean, and, we've been, practicing in the top 10 25 cars since, I've been in their car. And, before we were practicing 18th or worse, and they're trying to qualify in the top 10. So it shows you right there, yeah, it is good equipment, but it's also having the guys that know how to prep it and make sure the car, what the input to give the car, and making sure that, their knowledge is there for the many years that they've been doing it. I mean, this is like a whole new world to me. The sport type modified, that's all up north. The only time you see these cars come to Florida is during Speedway, and that's about it.
Mm. So, do you see it in the future that maybe you may end up coming towards the Charlotte area to live to further your racing career, or do you think you can do it from down in Florida?
I thought originally that I could do it from Florida, but there's guys like Chris Fontaine, Ross Chastain. I mean, I know Ross drives for another guy, but like Chris Fontaine in the truck, he tried it from Florida, and it was just too much of a struggle, to try to travel all that way, and plus the knowledge that's in North Carolina area, just so much. There's so much resources that are within miles of you. I mean, honestly, we've actually been looking for property up in the Winston-Salem and the Charlotte area, and the Kannapolis area. Me and my wife, just to think about either having a second home or a shop in that area, just so that we wouldn't have to travel if we did do our own deal. But I think eventually, if I'm going to further my career in this, move forward, we're going to have to be in that area for sure, Jack. There's no doubt about it.
Now, this weekend you're coming to Langley Speedway to run at Langley. You've run here before, right?
Yeah, we ran early this year. Like I said, we struggled with my car. We were a little bit loose the whole race, but we finished 8th. I mean, it was a good, solid top 10. I feel with their equipment and their car, we should be able to easily qualify in the top 5, and we should have a race-winning car. I mean, I really do. I mean, at Bowman Gray, we had the race-winning car. We just got tied up with a guy on a restart. And, those kind of, they're not two tracks that are alike, but they're similar. They don't have a lot of banking, and it's all about tire conservation and being there at the end with a good, solid car. And that's kind of the same, format we're going to go forward at Langley this week with a good car and try to be there at the end with the good tires under us and try to win it at the end.
So what is your favorite track on the circuit, or your favorite track in general?
There's no doubt about it. I mean, Bristol is probably one of the best tracks we've been to, throughout my career with the Nascar Wheeling Series.
I mean, I've been there with my Florida Modified too and finished 8th, and my Kimmel's Freestock and finished 3rd at Bristol. I mean, but there's no doubt. I mean, the speed, the rush of being there. I mean, you know, I would definitely say Bowman Gray is probably one of my funnest tracks to race, but as far as the thrill, the speed, and the high speed, Bristol. But I mean, it would have been a lot better if I would have had what they had. I mean, we showed up there with a built motor, which we knew going there with a built motor, we were down like 30 to 40 horse and about 30 foot-pounds of torque. Those new spec motors they got with that 830 carburetor, you just can't touch it. Because I mean, you're barely out of the throttle at Bristol. I mean, we literally held it wide open both qualifying laps with the torque car we brought there with the built motor. And there's no way that you can do that with a spec motor. You just couldn't do it. So it just shows you. I mean, we couldn't get much more out of the car. You know, if you're wide open and the car's handling that good for qualifying, and you qualify 29 out of 46 cars, I mean, you know, it shows you right there you're definitely down on power.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much else you can do.
No, not really. I mean, spending the 35 grand for that new spec motor, which, you know, we do have plans on doing that. I mean, it's kind of like, you know, you got to get with the Joneses and catch up to them. And, you know, it's a shame we got 2 really good motors. We got a David Pennick motor, and we got a you know, PT motor. You know, the problem is, you know, with that 390 carburetor, they can only breathe so good with that 830 that they allow that spec motor to have. Those bigger tracks, they're going to show up. But the good thing is, going forward, we have 4 racetracks that are pretty short. I mean, you know, we got Langley, South Boston, Hickory, and Charlotte. So, you know, you might lose a little bit qualifying, but in a race, that's not going to show up as much.
Well, Jeremy, we appreciate you taking time out of your day. I know you got a lot going on, getting ready to get up here to Langley. We'll see you Saturday night over in Langley, and we'll come by and introduce ourselves. And if you'd like to thank your sponsors and everything, take this time now to go ahead and do that.
Yes, I'd definitely like to thank British Performance for the shocks, Tiger Rear End, Master Wheels, David Pennick's Race Engine, Brady Jeffries Racing, Racing Radios, Unique Coating, Pro Brake Systems, Race Car Engineering here from Florida, Sweet Manufacturing, Jones Racing Products, you know, for the great pulleys, and also my own business, GMR Lawn Care, my wife, and also my crew. I mean, these guys, you know, like I said, I basically show up and drive now. This is like unheard of. I feel like Earnhardt sometimes, but I mean, by all means, you know, like I said, I have less control, but with these type cars, with me not knowing as much how to set them up, it's probably better for me just getting the input and just go with it. But this is a great series, and I can't wait for Langley, because that track is like the most awesome. It's kind of like Bowman Gray. Langley and Bowman Gray pretty much are my 2 favorite tracks for us as fans, because these guys, they go crazy about the drivers and about, you know, us being there, and looking forward to being there this weekend.
Well, we can't wait to see you up here. We'll come by and see you, and good luck to you this weekend, and I hope everything goes well, and we'll get you back real soon. Maybe, hopefully, we'll get you back in here after a big win.
I appreciate it, Jack. Definitely. If I get in that winner's circle, you got to get over and get your picture taken.
We'll do that. We'll talk to you later.
Thanks,
Thanks a lot for your time.
Thanks for having me. Take care.
I don't really know a lot about Jeremy there, but he seems like a really nice guy.
Yeah, he did, and I mean, you know, he probably knows more about the modifieds than we do.
Yeah, well, yeah.
That's
Joe knows more than modifieds than we do.
That's a long drive to come up just to go race it. You know?
It is, yeah. I mean, I figure I don't know where. It depends on where in Florida you are. You know,
10-hour drive, I guess, to get.
So
up
he's
to
got to be in
North Carolina.
He's got to be somewhere around the Jacksonville,
yeah.
down in that area, but to come that far. But
you know, he's right about driving for somebody else compared to trying to do your own thing. You're trying to worry about the books. You're trying to work on the race car. Trying to get people to work on the car.
And it would be even harder being based out of Florida, having to try to run something like that.
You got to leave a day earlier than everybody around here has, so you're losing a day and losing a day on the way back.
But that's still a long ride back and forth to race. Luckily, the modifieds don't race every single weekend. So
right.
They don't do a cup schedule, which is really cool that they can.
Well, it sounds exciting. He's got some truck stuff in the works, and it sounds like it's gonna.
Yeah,
happen.
I wish him the best. I hope he can do it, but he is right about one thing. If he's going to be in the sport, you're going to have to get closer to Charlotte. I mean, you look at Furniture Row. Yeah, okay, they're doing good out there,
yeah,
but they have ties here that they have to work.
It cost them a few extra million to run from out there.
So it's just a situation where if you're going to do it, you're going to have to be in this particular area. So,
well, I don't know if he's going to move up or it's just the team will be up here. It wasn't 100% on.
He said they were looking for land, so maybe they're thinking about
he's a second home. and
Right.
have a place to lay his head down at night.
All right, we got to call Frank Fleming. We'll let you take a break for have a lunch break.
Hey, Chick-fil-A's pretty dang on bad.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not telling you that because Chick-fil-A give us this or anything.
Hello.
Mr. Fleming, how you doing, sir?
Doing fine?
This is
How are
Jack.
you?
This is Jack Dodson with Jack Dodson's Racing Insider News. Glad to have you on tonight.
Yeah, glad to join you, Jack.
All right. Well, we appreciate you taking a little time out. I understand you had a volleyball game.
Yeah, my daughter's playing at North Wilkes High School, and we're at the game. And matter of fact, right now they're in their third set, and my daughter's serving.
So this could be the
Just started out, so that's bad. Tied up at 25 now. But I'll step away from here and join y'all for a minute.
Well, we appreciate you taking a few minutes to talk with us. Now, tell us a little bit. You're coming up here to Langley this weekend to race at Langley. What do you think about racing at Langley, and what do you think about the track here?
Well, I love coming up there. It's a pretty good distance from our area. It's far enough north that we used to get several of the northern teams come down. So, I love the racetrack. It's flat, it's brown. I come up there running the 8 when the modified first come up there. And, I was really glad when y'all put us back on the circuit, and I was really sympathetic when we went to 2 races a year up there. I wouldn't mind seeing 3 now. I was one of the ones campaigning for coming there twice a year. I may have to maybe put a 3rd race in there for y'all, but we always have a good crowd. There's always a lot of cars shows up for that race, and we always put on a good show there.
Now, you have a rich history in the modifieds, and then you stepped away for a little while, and now you're back in it again. But tell us a little bit about how you got started with the modifieds, and give us a little bit of background on you and the modifieds.
Well, first of all, I'm 56 years old. I've been driving race cars for 36 years. I started when I was 20. Back in them days, that was a pretty young driver. Nowadays, if you had made it in the Sprint Cup 2022, you didn't have much of a chance. So things have really changed. When I grew up, they didn't have all the racing for the kids to do. Now, they're starting at 5 years old and up. My nephews, they started when they were 5 and 6 years old, and we carry them all over the country racing these go-karts. And really, when they get to be 20, they got as much experience as I had when I was 30 or 35. Yeah. And anyway, I started driving the modifieds. I run dirt cars from 79 to 84, and I was pretty successful. Won like many races, probably won 10 late model races in that short span. I was wanting a Bush Grand National car. I caught the eye of Jim Wilson and Ted Emmons, out of R.J. Rolls Tobacco Company, and they were wanting, a car at Bowman Gray Stadium. It was on pavement. I looked, and there was a lot of modified races around here. The modifieds used to go to Martinsville 2 or 3 times a year, Orange County, Richmond, Virginia. So I just told them that I would drive it for them. We built the car, and so in 1985 I come out and drive that modified, and won 2 races my first year. I was pretty successful from the beginning. I believe it's around probably 87, 88, the first year that they run the modified at Langley, and we come up for that, and I think I won the pole for the race. I'm not sure, but that's kind of what I remember. I remember wrecking during the race. I didn't had a flat tire, got in the wall of burst. I tested the walls first time I come up there. But it was just going from that. I've done some Bush Grand National racing. In 1990, I probably run 8 to
10 races. But it was pretty much out of my money league, and I just settled back in the modified. And I've been running the modified since 1991. My brother's son, Luke, we brought him along in go-karts and put him in the modifieds at Pomegranate. He's really done good. I was 54 years old, and it was really time for me to retire. I got in the car and put Luke in it, and he was really successful. He had a third place finish at Daytona. I think he was the fourth at Langley. Had a lot of good races. He was second at Bowman Gray, and for some reason I'm not sure. He wasn't having fun, he said, and he didn't want to do it anymore. I bought a new engine, one of the new spec motors this winter, and didn't really know what to do. I didn't want to talk him into doing something he didn't want to do, but I decided I'd get back on the wheel myself. I've been driving it this year. That's pretty much where I'm at right now.
That must got to be hard to be gone from the sport a couple years, and then of course you were still involved, but then to jump back in the car again. I mean, that's a couple years you wasn't in it. Did things change a lot in those years that you were out?
I think it really helped me. The competition is really strong right now in Southern Modified. Like I said, there's going to be some Northern teams at Langley this weekend. And I really think it helped me on the side of, I was the crew chief on the car, and I got to learn the other side of this deal. I've always been the driver and never been sitting on the pit box trying to figure out what to do with the car. And I learned what I needed to tell a crew chief. So I put my brother back as the crew chief. I got in the car, and I think I'm communicating better with him. We had good races this year. I think we were fifth at Langley earlier this year. I know it don't sound that great, but you got to remember, I'm 56 years old, and the boys that I'm racing against are 25 to 35 years old. So I could be about all of his father, and I kind of pick on them and say that, that's what's so great about our sport, In football, 10 years is about all a player has. Basketball, all these sports that there is out here, it's the young man's game. And then racing, you can, Mark Martin made it up in his 50s and still pretty competitive. I'm 56, and I can win this race this weekend.
And you're a lot younger. You're a lot younger than Morgan Shepherd, so I mean,
That's right. I seen his name out where he run the truck race the other day or something.
Yeah, so you got plenty of time. You could race for 20 more years.
Yeah. Now I'm probably not going to drive after this year. I feel like the younger drivers are a little bit better, and I'm probably going to find me the right deal and put somebody else back in the car. It could even be Luke if he wants back in. He's had a year to sit out and reevaluate what he wants to do. And it's always been a Fleming race car, and I would love keeping a Fleming driver in it, And there's also, Chris has another son, his name is Jordan. He's coming along good, so, we're going to find something for him to drive on down the road. So, it's hard to say, but, I am looking at all my options and see what we can do.
Yeah, I mean, the Flemings have been in the modifieds for so many years, it'd be hard to see the modifieds without a Fleming in it. But I got an important question. Who's the better driver, you or your brother?
Well, that's look at the record. That's all you got to do there. really, for me, you don't him and them, but I say look at the record. How many races that? When he just tell me what to do, I said, Chris, how many races have you won? I said, can you count them on one hand or does it take two hands? Pull your shoes off. I won't count mine. I'll pick on him, Chris. Chris has probably got some of the best equipment now that he's ever had, and I was very fortunate. I got into modifieds. I was 25 years old. Jim Wilson had them, and they bought me the best that money would buy. And you got to credit that to a lot of my success. I was with some good people. They bought me whatever I needed in the cars, bought good motors. And, Chris, he got married and had a family when he was 20. And I always think, say, I married a race car, and he got married and had kids. So, now, 7 or 8 years ago, me and Chris both was running sort of help. Now, I've always run the tour. He's run Bowman Gray for the last 15, 20 years. So, we decided to, that I would help him at Bowman Gray and he would help me on the tour. And we've been doing that about 8 years now. It's really brought our family a whole lot closer together. He's sitting up in the grandstands now at my daughter's volleyball game.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
He's asked to come do this, and we'll be in the garage tomorrow night working on the car.
So,
Get the car finished up, which we were lucky at Bristol. We didn't have nothing much at Bristol, so, it wasn't a super hard job, getting the car ready to come to Langley. Just change the setup on it and all. But,
so he'll be with you.
A lot of fun racing this. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
He'll be with you at Langley when you come up here.
Oh yeah, he'll drive the truck up there.
Oh, okay.
He'll drive the truck. Chris is my crew chief on the tour.
All right. Well, we had him on the show.
He'll be there. He don't miss any race.
And we had him on the show a couple weeks ago, and I can't wait to meet him because he seems to be a character.
Oh, he is a trip, I'm telling you. If you haven't ever met him, when you meet him, you'll never forget.
Does he spot for you too?
Do what now?
Does he do any spotting for you too, or does he just the crew chief?
Well, we don't, I'm kind of the quiet one of the crowd, and he's the rowdy one, I think you can call it. Always keep my mouth shut, but you always know Chris is around.
Now, the Rob.
He has been in a few fights. That comes around with Saturday night race. But that goes on at Bowman Gray Stadium. You're on the tour, they don't tolerate very much of that. So
Now,
you couldn't see another fight up there in the bits.
Now, tell us a little bit about the Fleming and the Myers rivalry. Is there any rivalry there?
Well, me and Gary has raced together for since 1985 when I first got into modifieds. I think Gary's something like 10 years older than I am. That's just guessing. I'm not sure. So I kind of, when Bert and Jason come along as kids, I remember them being kids at the racetrack. And I remember them when they first started their career, I always pulled for them. And because there was Gary's kids, And yes, some feuding did come along. I don't think there's nothing out there now. Matter of fact, me and Jason have always been friends and have had very little conflict. Me and Bert's kind of bumped into each other a few times over the years, but there's no problem with us now.
Well, that's good. Now, back in the heyday of the modifieds, back in the 80s, give us some of the guys that you raced against that was really, some of the hardest drivers that you ever had.
Oh, probably me and Junior and Philip Smith, Gary Myers, Johnny Johnson, and man, I could keep naming names. I'm sure I'm forgetting a bunch. All the drivers that come out of Bowman Gray Stadium, and got around with a lot of the northern drivers. I run one race with Richie Evans. He was that accident got killed the first year that I raced. So I didn't get to race with Richie much, but Charlie Design-back, Jamie Tremaino, Tom Baldwin, a lot of them big name drivers from up north. I've raced with a lot over the years.
Did you race any against Sats Worley?
Against who?
Sats Worley.
Oh yeah, I drove the first few years that I drove. The first 5 years I drove. He drove the 07 car out of Marshall, Virginia for Speedway and Talmadge Thomas. And I think it's somewhere around the 88. Sats got to ride in the 4 car up north, Bob Galvarino's car.
Yeah.
And he drove for them many years. But in 1990, after my little venture on the Bush Grand National Circuit, I got in the car that Stats drove for many years. I drove the '07 car for Speedy and Thomas for 18 years, and that's probably the best 18 years I had in racing. They were very knowledgeable, had super good race cars, and we won a bunch of races together. And I believe the main thing is they kept them up. All they had to do was show up the track and drive them. But Speedy, he got out in probably 96, 97, and me and Talmadge continued on for 10 more years. And Talmadge got to teach his school there in Martinsville, and his time was really getting short coming to the racetrack. So the team that I'm running now, I ended up buying out from Talmadge. And, that's the old 7 car with the team that Satch drove for. So I even raced in the early 80s. Satch had a dirt track.
Yep.
There in Rocky Mount.
Log Cabin
Log Cabin Speedway. I run many dirt races there. That's when I first met Satch. Was even in the modified, I drove at his racetrack.
Well, Satch is
Satch Worley is something else. I mean, he is one heck of a driver. And, he's been out for several years now. I haven't seen Satch. One of the other greats is Paul Radford that come out of that.
Yeah, Paul Radford.
I know Paul Radford and friends with him, and I've even prepared his car for him to run some races back in the 80s. So I got to know him pretty good. He's a super fella. He drove for Speedy and them at one time. I'm not sure what years, but him and Satch Worley, they used to be big rivalries back in the 60s and 70s, stuff like that.
Yeah, they both came out of the same area.
Before I come around.
They both came out of the same area, and it was a big rivalry. Satch is one of my cousins, and I've heard a lot of stories. I never got to see him race, but I heard a lot of stories about his racing, and I was just, I've always heard.
He's one heck of a race car driver, Satch. He's one heck of a driver.
So what is your favorite racetrack that you've run on?
What is my favorite racetrack? I'll tell you my history. I've never liked running the same track every week. I run Bowman Grade weekly for 5 years. There's so much drama and all that goes on in a weekly racetrack. I enjoy going to a different track each race. And that's the reason I've always run the tour. We're never at the same track only 2 times in a row. To get back to my favorite racetrack, I've run on every racetrack on the East Coast, I think. Probably one track that if I had to go back to would be North Wilkesboro Speedway. We had a lot of TV races there, and that's really why I become known that. It was through the races at North Wilkesboro Speedway, and that probably opened the door up for me to do the Busch Grand National racing that I got to do. I got to go to Daytona and a lot of places, and really that's a Saturday night driver's dream of going to Daytona, and I got to live it,
At
North Wilkesboro probably played a big part of that. And, I won several races at North Wilkesboro, and I lost a bunch of races there.
Wilkesboro is a very unique racetrack.
Okay, say that again. The buzzer was ringing here. I didn't hear you.
I was saying that North Wilkesboro is a very unique racetrack, being on a hill. A lot of people don't realize, but you're going downhill on the front stretch and then going uphill on the back stretch.
That's right. The corners are totally different. And I don't know why, but I've been real successful. I just drove the track real good. Every race car I ever took there, I was still on pole. I set track records there. I won races there. The racetrack has really been good to me. Now, it was bad to me one time. I was in an accident there my first year and got hurt pretty bad. So, I got a few bad memories of Wilkesboro, but I'd say that goes along with any racetrack,
Yeah. Now, how much has setups changed? You know, used to back 20 years ago when I worked on some late models, if you had a setup you hit on a racetrack, you could pretty much use that for a few years. It seems like now a setup will work one weekend and the next weekend you might be off in another direction.
Well, I think what's happened is the sport has got so competitive. I mean, that any racetrack, I mean, this Saturday night, there's going to be 10 to 15 cars that can win that race at Langley. And, you know, the car that wins is going to have the perfect setup. His chassis will be dialed in, you know, the best of all the other cars. Back 20 years ago, you go to a race, there was 4 to 6 cars that could win. And, you know, that number's more than doubled now, so you really got to be on your game. Weather changes, tires change, you have to change your car as the year goes on. If you start the year out at a track and you're winning there and you just go back every week with that car, after a few weeks, somebody is going to figure out a way to beat you. So, in racing, that's something you have to work all the time. You can't never let up. If you let up, somebody is going to beat you.
Well, Frank,
if you're winning, you better go home and work with the car. You want to keep winning, because if you don't, you're going to lose.
Well, Frank, we appreciate you taking time out from your daughter's volleyball game. We're going to let you get back to that, and we'll see you Saturday night over at Langley, and we'll come by and introduce ourselves, and we hope you have a good run, and maybe get on Victory Lane over there Saturday night.
All right, well, maybe we can get there, and looking forward to coming up, and all the fans need to come out and support us, support the track. We're going to put on a good show. There's northern cars coming down. I've heard the car counts to be 20 plus. So, it should be one heck of a weekend. And I hope that I'm the one y'all interviewing after the race has won the race.
Well, we hope so too. All right, man. Well, we'll let everybody know Chris is coming too.
Oh, he'll be there.
All right, man. We appreciate it. Tell your daughter good luck. Hope everything works out good there too.
They just won their game.
All right, good.
Now won it. That is great for them. Thank you much. I appreciate it. And I'll see you Thursday.
All right, man. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
That's pretty. I know the Fleming name a bit, but I don't know that much about him. I didn't know that he ran the Grand National Circuit there for a few years.
And I remember.
And he must be the better driver.
Well, yeah,
the stats speak for themselves.
Well, I tell you what. I'm going to ask Chris.
I was already thinking that.
Well, I think we did ask him, didn't he? And he said he was the better driver.
Well, we're going to ask him in front of each other.
Yeah, it's going to be.
But they are totally different ends of the spectrum.
You ain't kidding, because I was expecting this come right out and start. And that wasn't what we got there.
No, I'm not totally surprised, because it just seems like.
Well, did you guys ever watch the Madhouse?
Yes, I watched.
Because Frank was kind of off to the, and Chris was always the one that
Yeah,
he was very vocal. Okay, very vocal.
We didn't call him the showstopper for nothing.
But I remember him running it. One of the very few times that I ever saw the modifieds run, and I really don't remember a whole lot about it. I know that Satch Worley was in the race. Frank Fleming was in the race. There was Gary Myers. It was the big name guys that were there. Now, who won and all that stuff, I was too young to.
It was a long damn time ago.
I knew when I said it. I'd about opened the door for you. But he's been around forever, and late 50s in a modified.
Yeah. And we're still running competitively.
Yeah,
that's it's. I imagine it's got to be a lot of fun. Maybe Jack won't agree with this, but running the race team and with your brother and it's a great family sport.
I don't agree with that.
Chris had said it when he was on the show too, that since they've been teamed up together like that, that it has brought them closer together.
Mhm.
And, you know, Frank said that again tonight.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's got to be an awesome feeling, you know,
Mhm.
to be doing something that you both enjoy and doing it together like
Yeah.
that, you know.
And then the kids are coming along. I don't know if Chris or not Chris. Which brother was this?
That was Frank.
Frank.
His son Luke
Was it his son or Chris's son?
That was Chris's son.
Chris's son is still driving.
Oh no, he's not driving this year.
He's not driving this year.
That's the one that
I
quit
thought
driving this year.
Yeah, he quit
He
driving
said it
this
was
year.
Chris's son. I thought.
Okay, I thought it was his son.
I
Okay.
did too.
Okay.
I did too.
It's Chris's son, and they put him in the car and last year, and he supposedly did pretty decent.
Yeah.
But he didn't want to race. I mean, I can't believe, you know, being a Fleming, you don't want to race.
Yeah.
Put him right back in the car. But no, I do not agree with you on that.
I figured as much.
And,
But still, I think that's pretty cool. You know.
it would be cool if you could make it work.
Mhm.
You know, like they do one races at Bowman Gray, one runs the thing. I mean,
And they help each other and they work on the cars
that
together.
that would be a perfect scenario.
Yeah.
That would be a perfect scenario.
And not many families can do that.
Yeah, but running against your brother, that ain't
Yeah.
worth it. Ain't worth the time or the effort, in my opinion.
Well,
But
if
anyway,
you're doing it because you enjoy it, it would be a different thing.
That's right,
The
and I-
competition, in order to keep your sponsor stuff, that's definitely got to be a tough
Yeah.
deal there.
But just to step in too, then he has a race in a few years. Just to step in, and,
I'm telling
you
you.
know, and get right back into it. They must. I mean, obviously, you've been doing this long. That's what you call a love for the sport.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
I can't wait to get out there Saturday night and meet some of these modified guys because you know some of these guys have a history. I mean, a long
Yeah.
history.
Yeah.
And some of them are brand new guys. And I know Ryan Priest has been around the last couple of years, but you got the Myers brothers, you got all these people been around forever. They're going to be interesting to talk to. I think if you go out and talk to them, they'll be interested.
Well, you know, I watched the show, and then what was cool was when they came this year, the first race. You know, I'm sitting there standing right next to Bert. You know, and I mean, it was an awesome feeling. But sitting there talking to him while we're tearing down his carburetor, you know, to make sure that he's legal. But it was a cool feeling.
And those guys are quite a character
Oh, yeah.
too.
Oh, yeah.
They're not
It's a lot
just
of fun.
great race car drivers.
Yeah.
They have a great personality and
Yeah.
they're pretty funny and they're kind of
Of course,
outgoing.
their personality is what made Bowman great. You know what it is.
Absolutely.
You know.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean, it's funny to watch and hear him. Well, hell, if you watch that one video when we didn't make it to Bowman Gray, they had. I don't know who
Yeah.
Bert was arguing with, but I mean, you know, as long as it doesn't go too far, some of that is fun to watch because you see the passion that they have.
Yeah.
You know, and it
Is
is
that
neat.
is that the place where they find the guy? They got into an argument and they find him. And they were arguing in the pits and they find the guy. And the guy says, "Wait a minute, we really didn't do a whole lot. Why are you finding?" He said, "Well, if you're going to do it, you need to do it out there where the fans can see it."
You know what?
I did not.
I think there's. I remember hearing that story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're going to do it out there where the fans can see it. Don't be doing it back here. So I'm finding you because you did it back here, not back there. You know.
That's
why,
funny.
And that's why they have the crowd that they have.
That's
you
right.
I know.
'Cause
I mean,
they
you
do put
see
on a
some
heck
of the
of a show.
pictures
Oh,
those people they
Man.
had. I just can't.
It
It's
made
just.
Indianapolis, you know, look like a
Oh,
little league
God,
game.
yeah,
Man.
yeah.
You know.
I mean, it's just mind-boggling how many people that come there every week.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
They get wrapped up in
fans.
it. They
Yeah.
get wrapped but see, it's like it was.
it's entertainment.
But
Right.
no, but you also a lot of your drivers, the Myers, the Flemings, a lot of those guys are from right there in that Winston-Salem area.
Right.
They have ties to that area.
Right.
And people
Shops are
come
right down the
out.
street from each other. And,
A lot of them come out because that's a rivalry within itself. Maybe not to them, but to the fans, it's a big deal.
Right.
We had that at Southampton when we opened up in the dirt. I mean, don't go there. But I'm talking about it was really cool because all the people, the place was jam-packed on Saturday nights.
was it?
And they come out because there was a lot of local guys
Right.
there. You know, and everybody's there to see the local guys knock off the guys from coming out of town.
Right.
So I mean, it was a big deal. And then when it started fading away, the local guys kind of got out of it because when they went asphalt, the local guys couldn't compete. I mean, you know, you're going to a whole new league when you start putting
Yeah.
asphalt on the track. So it was really tough, and that may have led to one of the reasons why it closed because they just didn't. you know, it didn't do what they
There
thought.
wasn't a lot as many local guys.
But when you have the local guys, man, then people will come out and go slam crazy over it.
yeah, I mean it's mind-boggling the amount of people.
Joe
that go.
Huss. Joe Huss, when he was racing at the old Chantilly track down in Roanoke Rapids, the 3 car makes in Emporia, the Chevrolet, the Dodge, and the Ford place all had a race car. And they went to Chantilly on Saturday night, and it was a rivalry between the 3 of them. And they all lived in Emporia. And it was a barn. And that, you talking about jam-packed? And when a fight broke out, the drivers were more concerned because the fans were going to get into the fight. They were more concerned about the fans than they were each other. But
That's funny about being fined in the pits and not.
Yeah,
Because, I mean, it is entertainment.
Yeah.
And like I said, as long as it doesn't go too far, it is great entertainment.
Right.
And it's
all right,
fun to watch.
before we go off the air, we got to do our Darlington race picks. And being as you finished last,
And if I don't win this week, it's going to suck. I can tell you right now, because this one's already won, and you won out of the back. Oh, that's going to be rough if I don't win.
yeah, because it's already 1-1. I'm keeping score. It's 1-1. And next week will be the tie. I mean, we'll have the race this week. And then it could end up with a 3-way tie. Then Richmond will be the tiebreaker.
Right.
And then the next week we're going. Then next week
We got to figure out a system on the chase.
I've got a system figured out.
All right.
Mount it on the wall.
We're gonna come up with something. We're going as far as that goes, but we're gonna come up with something. I've got a grid,
Okay.
and we'll.
Oh, that'd be cool. Oh, so you got a little thing on the back?
So I got a grid, so I just see if I can work it out and get it right.
Something we can put up on the wall so people can see?
Well, I don't know if it's gonna be where you can see it up on the wall or not, but
If he wins, we'll be putting it up on the wall. If he loses,
If
it'll probably be underneath his notepad.
if it, yeah, like that sign did. that Josh Ayer tried to take out of my book. But anyway, all right, Scott Allen, you're up
Darlington. Man. You know,
first. You don't have to think long.
because, you know, I'm on the fence. I mean, I'm going to say Harvick because you just can't go wrong with Harvick. I mean, the guy's got God knows how many second place finishes. But I feel like I keep saying this week is the time that the 24 is going to have a good run and they're going to get turned around and stuff.
You just
Positive
made their crew
stuff.
feel good.
I do, you know, but Darlington's, I think some of it wants me to steer towards Jeff because it's Darlington, it's Labor Day weekend, it's like the history of the sport, and you want to see somebody old school. Not that Jeff is old school, but
Well, let's add one other thing before you made your pick already. But before we go any further, what about all these throwback vehicles they're going to have this weekend? They're going to be really cool.
yeah, there's a lot too. Was there like 8?
There's a
12?
bunch of them. There's a bunch of them.
The 42, that's probably my favorite.
The mellow yellow.
Yeah.
I think my favorite is the 15
Yeah, that's what I was supposed to say.
for Buddy Baker.
Yeah, and you know, I didn't realize they hand painted that
They
car.
hand-painted every bit of it.
So it's as old school as you could get.
Yep. So it's
And that's cool.
The car looks good.
that's my
Yeah.
favorite
It does
car,
look good.
car wise. All right, Joe, we're on you now.
Well, I'm going to go with Kevin Harvick, and I'm glad he didn't.
You
take
can't
it.
go with Kevin Harvick.
Oh, did you? I thought you went with Jeff.
No, we went with
Oh,
Kevin.
Ouch! Ouch! Ouch!
I was on the fence, and I was just kind of explaining why. Because I feel like
Yeah.
I feel like Jeff is.
Well, I don't feel so good about Jeff.
You don't feel that good, huh?
Oh God. That's gonna take me a minute. Well, you know who's been on fire, and I should say on fire, but doing good is Joey Logano. So I don't
There's
know.
really not a bad pick. You know?
No, and that's who I'm going to go with.
Joey Logano.
Joey Logano.
You got to hit a spotter up.
Yeah, we need to get him on
He's on Facebook. I'm friends with him on Facebook.
tab.
He started with Ashton Lewis.
Well, I'm gonna tell you who my pick's gonna be.
Who was it before we picked?
No,
I'm just
no,
checking.
I wouldn't have gone. Not that there's anything wrong with Logano. I wouldn't have gone Logano, and I wouldn't have gone Harvick this
Yeah,
week.
well, you went last week, so you couldn't pick him
Yeah.
again.
Well, anyway, my choice this week I'm going with Matt Kenseth.
That's a good pick.
He's another kind of old school that you would think that would do well. But,
So-
Darlington's one of those places that you can't really worry yourself about the race and where you're at. You just got to pay attention to the track itself and race the track.
Clayton didn't call in his, or didn't send his.
His picking, I know. I was thinking before we go too far, let me see if he's messaged us or anything. But
You know, we normally
he's
put
quiet.
Clayton,
He's quiet.
we normally put Clayton in this thing so he can see what's going on. And
Clayton, what's your pick?
yeah, Clayton, let us know if you're watching tonight. You may not be watching tonight, but let us know what's going on. One more bit of MWR news that I got this week. Is that thing still running?
Mm-hmm.
I'm hearing more and more. Clint's going to be with Harry Scott next year.
Oh, really?
For 1 year. I'm hearing it more and more. It's a whole lot of things I hear that's up in the air. And one of the things I heard also was, don't be surprised if there isn't 2 new drivers at Hendrick Motorsports next year.
Next year?
Don't be surprised if you don't see. We already know one. Chase is going to replace.
It's pretty obvious who the second.
Chase is going to replace Jeff. But I'm telling you, there is a new name that has popped up this week. I asked somebody about it, and they started laughing and said, "I don't know nothing about it." So I knew right then he did. And I'm not talking about my son either, because it wasn't him. But
Who can you gonna say who the name
I'm
is?
going to say it. I hear Denny Hamlin is going to replace Casey Kane.
Oh, well, I knew it would be Casey Kane.
Yeah, I
I
heard.
mean, that's 2 years. That team is really not.
they
Have
have
not performed.
They have made.
But they just I was surprised that they re-signed him. I mean, to be completely honest, last year they re-signed him this year?
No, they resigned last year.
I really thought that Chase was going to be taking that 5 car over. And I think Chase will do a great job in the 24, and I think that's a great way to sort of pass tradition
yeah.
on to somebody that's a great name for the sport. And obviously he will do very well, and he comes from a rich history. Yeah. So I think it fits well with Jeff leaving and him coming in and taking the number and continuing the number. And I understand that was kind of some of him. He wanted to continue that number. He did not want a different number, which I respect.
Yeah.
But I was really surprised when they re-signed him. And as we know, Rick is not scared if he signs you to fire you, as he did with.
Call from 80485.
Well, he's probably not. He thinks we're not on the show anymore.
Say answer or.
Yes, Mr. Morehouse, and we're still on the show.
Are you still on the show?
Yeah, we're having a little conversation right here.
Conversation about me.
Not you. No, not about you. You wasn't even in it. You wasn't even in it.
I thought maybe you had the police officer that pulled me over on the show or something.
No. we'll call you. We'll call you back in a few minutes.
Okay, buddy.
All right, man. But the word is Eric Jones has been told he's going into a Cup car next year. And the man who seems to be the man on the outs right now is Denny Hamlin.
Well, we kind of had that feeling and heard some of that rumbling in the beginning of the season. And it was kind of weird to hear that Denny, just a few weeks ago said he wanted to finish his career. And it sounded like from the outside looking in that he was fighting for his job. I want to stay here.
That's just one of the things that popped up this week. That
I mean, that's kind of a shocker, but not.
And I understand. It's also a deal. The sponsor will probably move too.
That's a shocker.
So that's what I'm hearing. So
then they must have somebody else in the gun.
Don't know.
I mean,
I don't know.
That's pretty big. I mean, I will say I probably shouldn't say it. I'm not a big Denny Hamlin fan. I will say Denny is definitely a talented race car driver, without a doubt. I mean, the kid got in a cup car with little or no experience and run off 4 top 10 finishes in the last 5 races of the season. I don't know many people that can just jump in the car. And
He's
do
good.
that.
He's good. And of course, you know, the sport is a sponsor-driven sport. And if there's a chance that could work out good, you know, they're going to. It ain't beyond Mr. Hendrick to, okay, we'll take the sponsor and him too.
Yeah, I wonder how Denny will fit in there.
I don't know.
It's just, I mean, I just didn't see this coming.
He won't, you know, he's not going to be in the 548 shop. I mean, the 4888 shop.
Right.
He's going to be in the 24.5 shop if it happens that way. I mean, if it comes to pass.
Right. Who knows if it really happens? It'd be interesting.
But it's interesting. Yeah, like you said, it's interesting. But it would be probably the better place for him to be over there, not in the Jimmy Johnson, Dale Earnhardt.
And I don't remember where it came from. We understand there's some crew chiefs going to move around
There's a lot of talk about that. There's a lot of talk.
And there's a possibility that Chad may not be top of the 48 next year.
That's a good. That's a good possibility.
I don't know.
But I don't know that he's going to be on top of anybody.
That was my next thing. He would probably be something that's going to oversee instead of, you know, with him getting married this weekend. Congratulations to him and our buddy Guido and
his wife,
his newly wife. If you want to check out, the new wife, I guess anybody could, huh?
Not Guido's.
No, not Guido's wife. Chad's
Anyway,
wife.
we're gonna stop right here because this seems like it's getting ready.
Yeah.
This is getting ready to go down a road we don't want to go down right now.
Change the show's name.
Anyway, great show tonight. We're going out to Langley this weekend.
Go to the modified show. Check it out this weekend.
Yeah, if you're around the area, go there, do that. Hopefully, Joe will be working.
I will be working.
You gonna be on pit road again, or?
No, I'll be in turn 2.
Okay,
Because,
well,
they'll.
Joe is gonna.
Nobody like you over there. Is that why you're over there by yourself?
Well, you know, if you think about it now, Jimmy started out at turn 2, and Justin started out at turn 2.
Oh,
now.
really? Yeah,
Yes.
Justin did start.
Well,
I remember
He
seeing
did.
Justin.
So, don't.
Oh, he'll be
Well,
running
well-
the show next year.
Well, let's just put it this way: Joe's going to be at the racetrack. We don't know about the work part, so
I'll be guarding my turn.
That's right.
Anyway.
Stay back by the line.
we'll see you next week. And
Right.
thanks for being with us this week.